It was great to be away, actually.
It was great to be away. So is it good to be back?
You never know.
All right, something that happened whilst we were in the summer recess, a number of different things with government action, of course, but the resolution that came through from the High Court about non-resident taxes as far as their properties are concerned. It's a big thing, really, especially for people from third countries, as we call them these days. It includes Britain since Brexit, of course. It means Americans, Australians, anybody who's not in the EU. What was behind this whole resolution about non-resident taxes?
Actually, is one of these good news that somebody decided to appeal. Something what was quite obvious that it was discriminatory, paying different type of taxes based on nationality.
So that's different taxes compared to European Union citizens.
Yes, yes. So they were paying, just if you will recall, if you're having a property, you're renting it out, okay, you will declare it the gross amount, not the net, and you, on top of that, will pay 24% instead of 19%. Mm-hmm. So it's quite different, you know. So it wouldn't give too much incentive to rent out, because then you have the gross amount, not the net amount, and then you had to pay the 24, not the 19. So this sentence, which we were expecting to have it, declares
everybody's the same. It was an unfair situation. We've had resolutions like that in the past from the Spanish courts, where it was perceived then that people from third countries were discriminated against and not allowed under the rules of Spain and the EU. So who was it that brought this case? Do you know?
Yeah, well, I don't know the name of the person, but it was an American client who had this issue, and I guess it was more about principles than anything else, and he decided to take it to court all the way through.
That's right. And this court is Audiencia Nacional, and possibly the public lawyers, the lawyers of the government, they may make an appeal into Tribunal Supremo, which is another high court. And but obviously this states that there is a discrimination about these people who owns properties in Spain, who are not resident in Spain, who are residents in the outside European Union countries, and obviously couldn't deduct any cost about that, and obviously the percentage was higher than the rest. But not just about that, also there are some deductions on terms if you are resident in Spain that you could get if you rent the property, for example, long term. Up to 50% of the base. I mean, all these things, all these benefits, if you are resident in Spain, or even though resident in the European Union, you couldn't get that if you were outside a European Union citizen, resident. So it was a discrimination. It happened also many years ago as well with inheritance.
Yeah, that was the thing I was remembering. I knew there'd been another case where they said that people from third countries couldn't be used, couldn't be dealt with differently.
15 years ago, or something like that. Yeah.
And obviously, what we already announced, some weeks ago, that this was going to happen. Some weeks ago, some months ago, that obviously now those who paid for 24% totally, the gross amount, 24%, now they will be able to apply for a refund on the last 4 years.
So the implications then are back now on the Spanish tax authorities who hopefully have a big coffer there sitting because they haven't used this money whilst this case is going on, because they can't forward it on to central government if they perhaps have to pay it back. So
what everybody needs to do now on this position is to work out again the 4 past years. So you need to work out according as a European and make the difference. So how much did I pay? How much I was to pay now as a European? What is the difference? And that difference is the petition you need to make through the tax office. Obviously, the tax office will not make your life easy at all. You're right.
Despite the ruling, they're
not going to be easy as the administration's policy.
But I guess you're going to have all the pertaining paperwork if you don't.
Correct.
If you've got
that's right.
And you should anyway, because we're talking about 4 years, right? And 4 years is what you keep.
They will have to pay. I'm not saying they're going to be quick paying, but they will have to pay. And I really encourage people on this position to start putting paperwork in order, make a claim, and wait and see. But
Of course, for Brits, this coincides with Brexit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's the 4-year period.
yeah.
So.
So it really affects non-European in general, but the British people after Brexit were the one who were affected in this way. Yeah. So I really encourage everyone who was non-resident, who was British, obviously non-European Americans, but they've been dealing with that. They could go up to 4 years to claim this, but to be honest with you, the sooner they do it, the better. And it's as simple as working it out properly. I mean, you need to do it through your accountant, your lawyer.
I was going to say, is this something that somebody could perhaps do on their own, but only if they really know what they're doing? But
it's probably too complex because you will need an accountant or you will need your lawyer to deal with that. I mean, we're used to these things, but I don't know if people will be able to know how much they paid and how much they should have paid according to this rule.
Yeah, easy to know perhaps what you did pay, but not what you perhaps should have paid, or what other people might have paid. You know the percentages, though, right?
Yeah. Well, 19% of the net, except on 24% of the gross. But it brings calculations. So you really need to submit, again, the proper calculation, how much you paid, you overpaid, and then just to ask for a refund.
Yeah. And also, I mean, and see the scenario, because at the beginning, I'm sure that once you claim that back, it's going to be rejected.
Well, really? So they're going to say no first off.
Yeah, because, I mean, you are claiming to them whenever obviously they said that it was this way. And then you need to appeal. And then and to a higher administrative court. It's not like a court, but it's something like that. And then maybe it's also rejected. And then you need to appeal to a proper court that is independent. And then you win there.
Is that a normal situation? You expect like 2 or 3 goes at stuff?
Yeah,
is that why I didn't get my TA till the third time?
So this is, I mean, obviously people need to understand the scenario, and obviously we understand that, as I said at the beginning, the tax office is going to appeal this resolution by the Audiencia Nacional, and well, obviously this is going to be still in a situation that, but everyone needs to start applying now, because as much as time it passes, you lose the action.
Yeah, the action.
You lose the right to apply the last 4 years. I mean,
That's true.
So you have 4 years still to apply on this, but
up to 4 years.
4 years. So then, if you claim them in 1 year time, then the last year you will not be able to apply for.
So the more you wait, the more rights you lose. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. And also, of course, if the tax office is appealing,
they will take more time.
So then, whilst they're appealing, then they're not going to do anything.
That will be the strategy for sure, because at the end, it will be less people to claim for that.
Yes.
All right. For sure. It's times like probabilities will be like that.
All right.
Out of everybody, how many are going to claim, how much they're going to last, how much so they're not going to pay all that they need to pay.
You think the tax office kind of understand and realise already how much they might have to pay out?
They could guess, but it depends on how many people are going to claim.
Yeah, but in some way, at the end, they did it with inheritance tax. They did it with Model 720 as well. I mean, they've done it right now with their situations. They've done it with the Beckham law. Beckham law is also like a law firm outside Spain. I think it's from America. I'm not sure really. The surname, I think, is Amsterdam. They're claiming against tax office about the discrimination against the foreigners because of this Beckham law. I mean, we know, because we deal with that. We have informed many clients that they were they didn't fulfill the requirements to be upped into the Beckham law. But I have the experience that they say, well, some of the law firms told me that they could. I say, well, according to the law, we understand in our law firm that you couldn't do it with the Beckham law. But in some way, I'm sure that they did it. Many of them, they did it wrongly. But I'm sure tax office has been revising that, and I'm sure the tax office is going to win most of the cases in that cases.
What should somebody do if they believe that they have a claim on the tax authority?
Right. The best thing I would recommend the audience will be to work out how much they paid and how much they are due. How do they do? Very simple. You'll have to find out how much was the gross amount. Obviously, you know what you paid, 24% of that. Now you need to work out the net amount and just pay the 19% on that. But I know it's not an easy thing for them to know, because it's based on a cadastral value and a percentage, and
You'll certainly have the tax documents that you've paid, but it's difficult things working out what you should have paid because
You need to redo it again.
So before the ruling, non-residents were taxed at 24% on gross rental income, right? No deductions are allowed for legitimate property expenses and higher effective tax rates than EU residents. That's now changed to being taxed at 24% on net rental.
19.
Yeah, 19. So full expense deductions you can do now.
Yep.
And that means that there'll be tax savings, right there? Refund opportunities.
Correct.
So I guess this is where you guys come in, because you were talking about needing a lawyer, needing an accountant. Of course, you have both of those opportunities in-house to keep somebody's claim together. And I guess as much paperwork as people can bring to you, the better, right?
Yeah, well, you need to bring, the proper claim you need to do is to provide proof of payment and a tax declaration on 24% of the gross. And then we'll need to redo it properly according to law now. And that's the difference. We need to know how much money is the amount of the claim. Now, as you said, and we discussed, Pedro and myself here, how long is it going to take? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be very difficult? Well, tax office is never an easy one,
In any country.
In any country. So I don't expect to have that money quick enough.
But it's important to do it now.
But to be honest, I will go for it because at the end of the day, you could establish either a fee or a no-win, no fee, or, with whoever you deal with.
Is that standard practice to expect?
In general, it's not a standard practice, but some law firms could agree if you have everything on the table, and if it's a clear case, we don't know whether it's going to take 2 years, how long it's going to take, if it's going to take 1 appeal, 2 appeals, 3 appeals, whether we need to go to the high court. So it's a gamble, but eventually we expect to get there.
No win, no fee sounds good. Because otherwise, if it does drag on, surely you could end up in a situation where what you win back might be outweighed by what you're paying for the process.
Absolutely. This will work just in case. Obviously, people will feel confident in case of law firms. At the end, the tax advisors, everything, the cost is not too much. And because if we know the result is going to happen, mostly 100% is guaranteed. Mostly, not 100%, but mostly. So at the end, it's gonna be working a lot in case there's no win, no fee, or maybe a very little cost, and then
a percentage, perhaps.
A percentage, like a retainer, minimum retainer, probably for the expenses, and based on.
Because at the end, once we law firms, once we do one claim, the pillar of the claim is done.
Yeah.
And then it's just to revise the documents, to revise numbers, and just change that really in the claim.
And
obviously,
if the initial one
get
is
all
rejected,
that, get the documents, print in, and then submit it electronically or in the tax. This is. And at the end, if I were a client, I would say I want someone to do it for me, some professionals, but not to cost.
Then you have to do it once as
exactly.
well. And you guys will chase up any rejections.
And then be notified by the tax office through us, not through the client. Then we phone the client, it's being rejected or not, and then let's do the other claim. When you know what to do, what the timing. All this organized in terms of, okay, people feel confident that it's going to happen. And it's not going to cost you a lot of money at the beginning.
Yeah.
And
so it's worthwhile.
If the formula is like that, people will want to do it.
And there are a number of things that you can use on deductibles as well, because people who weren't allowed to deduct anything before might not realise what things they can use now.
But you know what they're going to do, thinking twice here? They're going to ask you for all the invoices. So the tax office will do an inspection. Yeah. Thinking negative here. Well, the taxman, in order not to pay you any money, they're going to say, well, just provide me a copy of every single invoice properly. So they will go into an inspection.
I see what you mean. So
you see what I'm saying?
Tax inspection mode.
You need to provide paperwork.
Yeah. The sort of things, just a few of the sorts of things that you can use as a deductible. Mortgage and loan interest, property taxes, community fees, repairs and maintenance, insurance premiums, utilities, professional services, depreciation, unpaid rent. So that's quite a list that people were not allowed to deduct from before, but now can.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the key of the case here, Carl, is working as a team. The client needs to have a very well organized file with their invoices duly in their name, everything very well organized, and itemize. Otherwise, they're going to be very picky. They say, okay, you want it deducted? I want to see every single invoice of the community, every single invoice of the water. It needs to be in your name. It needs to be it's a proper
receipts,
inspection.
Everything, yeah.
Proper inspection. Otherwise, it's a waste of time, to be honest. So for those who could achieve and get and gather all these paperwork, I encourage them to enforce their rights through whoever they considered is best. And
it is a right to have a tax refund when you've been unfairly treated.
Correct. But it's not going to be an easy ride. It's not going to be an easy one.
Yeah. Now, at the end, if you calculate, for example, someone who was renting it in terms of, it's between 19% to 6% plus the deduction, obviously the cost is, that sometimes, as you have said, one of them is depreciation.
Yeah.
Okay, that
you have to prove it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's able to do. We have a checklist in terms of we inform clients, bring us all these documents and insurance and this and that. And at the end, sometimes the costs or deductions are quite big.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So which is, obviously, it's not just the 6% difference between a percentage, it's just also the deduction. So it may take, people who may get some 20,000 euros per year, sometimes they get this. Maybe it could be like 8, 9, 10,000 euros per year sometimes. This times 4. The last 4 years.
Of course, yes, because it's 4 years that you're claiming. But I guess you have to do a Form 10 for each affected year, right?
Correct.
But again, that helps though, because you break it down. It's it's all compartmentalised.
Yes.
So if you can make sure you've got the documentation, it's worthwhile. If you're talking about getting something like £8,000 a year,
exactly.
Back.
First, I don't know, right? I make this calculation, but firstly, obviously, is to evaluate what is the claim, what is the cost at the beginning for the client. It's no cost, it's no win or fee, obviously, just a minimum retaining fee and then a percentage. Perfect.
Yeah, I think it's worth. But what is key here is to have paperwork in order and very well organized. Otherwise, we end up going into a battle with the tax office. When you're claiming back to the tax man, they want to look everything. And so you need to be very well prepared for it. So guarantees on time is impossible. So I think the first claims will take a little bit. It will be harder. After a few, probably they will exhaust because the more claims there are, the less people, and they will end up paying. But we don't know we don't know how easy is a tax man.
How soon is the tax office going to accept the precedents? So
because once everybody's doing the same, they will say, "Well, we'd rather pay for it."
Is that what makes it easier when you go and argue the case? It's easier if lots of people are going through the process and the tax office go, okay, right, hands up, we can't really get away with this, we've got to pay out.
Carl, is the same when somebody says, well, I did declare this amount of money, but I made a mistake, and can I claim it back? Well, our advice here is say, well, it's a matter of time, stress, cost, and whether it's worth it. If you made a mistake on 10,000 euros, but they're going to ask you for the moon, they're going to ask you for, please provide me proof of that pension, and every single self-assessment declaration you've done, they're going to ask you to identify.
But for 4 years back, most people will have had that.
They should.
If they've been claiming,
if it's going through the bank, you are having in the bank, you need to speak to your bank manager to see whether they could give you receipts for everything. And sometimes they may even be difficult, and they will ask for invoices as well. So you know how they are. But anyway, being positive here, I encourage people to look through their accounts, make a gross figure, see whether it's worth it, and just they can speak to their lawyer, to us, or to whoever they consider is best. And why not? If there is nothing to lose, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, if you think about it logically, year by year, generally you've put your taxes in, and if you've been all right, with it straightforward, then you should still have most of the paperwork that you need if you've filed it away and put it in the right place properly. Haven't been affected by anything that's been going on across the summer, for instance, like the fires, for goodness sake. So it's a big thing, and I guess, like you say, you guys are used to handling things with the tax office, used to dealing with them on a regular basis. Most lawyers in Spain do know what they're talking about when it comes to dealing with the tax office, and actually I can think you kind of relish the battle with them, don't you? You enjoy these discussions with the tax office?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, and many discussions with tax office are won, and in terms of, because they play with the percentage that people is not going to claim, is going to pay. It's like you receive a fine from a traffic. It's like this example. I mean, you have to pay 100%, but 100 euros. But you pay soon. You pay 50 euros.
Yeah.
Are you going to claim that? Are you going to find a lawyer to? No, people are going to pay it. So they play with this. You have a fine of small fine like 300 euros or 400 euros or 1,000 euros. They prefer. I mean, I understand that. I mean, sometimes not to get in trouble, just to, and tax office plays with that. Plays that many of the people is not going to claim it. Is not going to do it. They play with that, and then when you do it, it's rejected, and then you have to make more effort in terms of another appeal, and then you win.
You should expect one or two rejections
there is
before you get through. That's great.
Exactly. One of the tribunals we call it Tribunal Económico Administrativo, which is once you appeal it's not like a judge, it's not like a higher court, but it's like a court in
higher court
in economic situations on taxes between tax office and the higher court. And I would say more than 90% of the cases are won there.
Excellent. All right, it's very positive. So this is that landmark ruling then from the national courts, the ruling that preventing non-EU property owners from deducting rental expenses violates EU law. The landmark decision allowing thousands of British, American and other non-EU investors to claim substantial tax refunds and significantly reduce future tax liabilities. Of course, we didn't talk about that, but it does mean going forward, you're going to be taxed as an EU a citizen. That's a big judgment, which came on the 20th of August, I think it was. I hope they may be thinking that it was going to be buried in the summer holidays, but
probably.
Certainly not the way that it's turned out. And I guess you're going to be covering this over the next couple of weeks. I know you've got a webinar coming up in 2 weeks'
We're going to
time.
explain this subject on a webinar on, I think it's the Tuesday 17th of September at 5 o'clock. We'll cover
16th.
that. 16th? Okay. And we'll cover that, obviously Madrid time, 5 o'clock. They could register in our website. They could watch it live and watch it back the following day. It will be recorded.
That's on alicantilawyers.es at the Pay It There and Heredia website. And the following day, actually, the 17th, I'm away, but Moody will be on with you guys again. Okay. So you'll be able to talk about the questions that have arisen, the reaction that you've had from clients and the reaction that you've heard from the tax office so far, because it's going to be around for a while as people get to realise that actually it's probably something that's really well worth doing.
I think so,
You know, if you can claim back something like $8,000 a year for 4 years, why is that not worth doing?
Why not?
And actually, we talking about this year 25, so 24, 3, 2 and 1. So the end of December will be the last chance to claim for 2021. So we've got 4 months for everybody to do their best not to lose and jeopardize their rights.
Yeah, with you there, of course.
You see,
the way
because
the tax office works.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, for those who are going to do it for this year, that they haven't done it yet. Obviously, they're going to do the right way. So it's going to be
forward now.
Yes. Yeah. So we will need all that invoices for this year.